I'm glad to be here with you today talking about the challenge of change in relation to the built environment, and I'm going to take you to India immediately. This is a valley in India, but first of all, a reminder on geography. Here's the subcontinent. New Delhi is up here. Mumbai or Bombay is here. And right here on the southwest coast is the state of Kerala, about 360 miles long. And it's a model for development over these last 50 years, doing development a different way. It's managed to achieve literacy rate of over 90% for both its men and its women. It has universal health care for all 32 million of its citizens. It has a population growth rate of 1 to 2 children per family, and it has life expectancy rates equivalent to those in the West. And this valley in Kerala is where I built a house, which was finished a couple of years ago, and I'm going to tell you about this. I ended up in India because I was, at that time, I was doing my doctoral dissertation on alternative communication strategies in relation to changing perception and use of energy in the built environment. And I wanted examples from the East, because I didn't think the West had all the answers as to how this spinning globe should be operating. And synchronistically, I heard about a British architect, Dr. Laurie Baker, who'd been living and working in India for 60 years. And he essentially had taken a modern technology that he had learned as an architect and was melding it with the indigenous knowledge of ancient Indian builders. And so it was to Kerala I went. And Dr. Baker also helped establish an organization called COSTFORD, the Center of Science and Technology for Rural Development. It's been in operation for 25 years now. It's a nonprofit organization, and it's basically dedicated to creating energy-efficient, cost-effective buildings in India for low-income families and creating a different model of buildings. This is the Baker family home compound in Nelanchara, just south of the capital city of Thiruvananthapuram. This is where the Cosford office was, where I served as a volunteer consultant. So what I needed to do, what I taught myself in finishing the dissertation and attaining the degree, is I needed to walk the talk. I needed to actually build a demo house in India. And so I commissioned Cosford to design and build a prototypical energy-efficient house, and this is it. And I did this with a family, with my family of friends. This family I've known for 5 years now. It's grandparents, a widowed daughter who's a school administrator, and also her young daughter. And we found a 1/4 acre of land right on the slope of that valley that you saw in the original slide. We had terrific spring water flowing into the site. Unfortunately, it flooded our foundation trenches and we had to stop work. We had to shore up the trenches using construction-grade bamboo, drilling it in for vertical piling. And then we also slashed and strapped that same bamboo, made ladders, sandwiched it between concrete, and dropped it at the bottom of the foundation trenches so that we could lay granite rubble foundation in this fashion. We didn't level the site, we worked up the slope. We also put in a rainwater harvesting tank at the far end. Even though we're in the subtropics, we have virtually no rain between November and February. We put in a spring water harvesting tank so that we could capture from the 6 springs flowing into the site for domestic use. We also used native brick coming in from the state to the south, Tamil Nadu. We set the bricks on edge. It's called a rat trap bond that Laurie Baker devised for us. And we set the bricks also crossways, created a double wall. We used less brick, less mortar, and created insulation space for subtropical temperatures. All the door frames, wood frames, and solid wood doors were made of local woods and crafted by Cosford carpenters using hand tools. We also used the building site as a training site. We would continually have architectural students from all over India coming to see what kind of design and construction work we were doing. We also had a steady stream of visitors from all over the globe who wanted to see what we were doing. A hallmark feature of Cosford's work is leaving rustic finishes. The brick is exposed both on the outside and the inside. It's a smooth finish on the walls. We're very careful with the mortar joints. The floors were a dyed concrete, smooth finish concrete with an oxide finish. We also built some of the furniture, like benches that you can see on the right, and we used bamboo also on the interior for things like the railing banister. We used, this is a technique that Laurie Baker devised. Concrete, cement, the making of cement generates an enormous amount of CO2, and it's also very expensive and not a native material. So we used native roofing tiles that were seconds, maybe had a chip or something, couldn't be used. We sandwiched them into the floors and roofing concrete mixture. It meant that we could use less metal, we could use less concrete, and it also cost us less, and it created an insulating space and was perfectly serviceable. This is a Kerala window, which was something that Dr. Baker took from the ancients. The Maharajas would design their palaces with windows that would tip out over courtyards so that the noble women could look down at various pageants, presentations, banquets, and still remain secluded. And so we devised a version of this with bamboo and anjali wood, and there's the youngster in our family sitting on one of our benches studying. This is also granite, which we have local. We have a lot of granite locally. This is now, we've used granite pillars, and we've strung wire here, and we're creating a biofence. And we're using plants that are either ornamental or food-bearing or flowering to cover this fence. And on the lower wall, at the lower side of the property, we put in a granite rubble retaining wall with no mortar. We also put in a biogas plant, and toilet effluent and kitchen scraps went in here and gave us about an hour's worth of methane gas for kitchen use. This is the house. We're doing a concreting, putting one of the floor levels on. Notice the two women in the center of the picture. Cosford also supports Kerala's initiative for empowering women. These young women were educated as civil engineers, and they serve to run the site. Here they're working with grandfather, working out material orders. He would order the material in for the week's work. They would also give him an estimate of the rupees needed, because we pay our workers on a daily basis, as is Indian custom. Here's the finished house. About 2,000 square feet. You can see the Kerala window up over the entrance. That's a standard ancient Kerala roof, which allows for dealing with monsoon rain. There are large overhangs, 3 feet above, 2 feet below on the ground floor level. The kitchen off to the right. The house cost about 60% of what a comparable house of its size would cost in Kerala. And this same house cost 25% of this house, which was built in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. My late husband was an architect. This is an award-winning passive solar super insulated house that we built. Michigan is here. Here's the Lower Peninsula. Detroit is down here. You travel up through the, past the Mackinac Bridge. Here's the Upper Peninsula, and in the thumb knuckle right here is Hancock, Michigan, where that house is. Lake Superior is here, Thunder Bay, Ontario is right here. We get 20 feet of snow a year there. That's about 6 meters. The interior of the house, large low E glass windows, 4x6 construction, very airtight. Thermal mass on the floor, porcelain tile here. We also had a backup heating system based on our 50-gallon water heater. We had compact fluorescent light bulbs, energy-efficient furnaces, energy-efficient appliances, etc. We were concerned with low-income families in the area. This particular house was designed for Copper Country Habitat for Humanity. My husband designed these, passive solar, super insulated, same thing, 2x6 construction. And these houses had an energy performance 43% less than, or better than other houses in the region. Now I'm going back to post-World War II houses. In North America, the average house was 850 to 900 square feet. That's my family home, and that's the size of the home. It was built in 1952, just 2x4 construction, nothing special. Half a century later, at the beginning of the 21st century, the average houses in North America were 2,400 square feet, almost triple. So green building is not only about how we build, but how big we build. Another from my family album, this is a sod house on the Canadian prairies. My Finnish grandparents came just before World War II. My mother was born in a house like this. She's the little blonde on the right. She was raised in this house. My grandfather built this small house. It's now used as a granary, and she lived there in the 1930s and 1940s. Why am I showing you these pictures? Are we supposed to go back to sod houses and Little House on the Prairie? No. But what is the way that we are building our buildings now doing to the planet? What do we need to remember about the past? This is the Hindu god Kali, who is the goddess of eternal energy. Normally she's blue. She was green this time because we had a conference on green building in Kerala 2 years ago, and we painted her green. What really gives me, I enjoy looking at this because this reminds me of the fact that we need to create ways that embrace the idea of becoming more sustainable in the ways that we live. And I'm very heartened by the fact that we're doing this TED Talk here in this marvelous building. I'm also heartened by the fact that Habitat for Humanity South Okanagan is embarking upon building a green building this summer for a young family. 2-bedroom, 900 square feet. It's going to have solar hot water, ductless heat pump. It's going to have those light wells. You've seen them here in this building, and it's also going to have a rammed earth front wall. I'm also pleased that Penticton is starting the Penticton Urban Agriculture Association, which is looking to provide opportunity and education to be more wise about creating our food here locally. And I'm also pleased with things like this that are happening in the subcontinent. This is in Bangladesh, and this is women learning how to put together solar lighting systems. This was in Finland, wind turbines in Oulu. This is family. That looks like Kermit to me, doesn't it? Remember Kermit? It's not easy being green, and it's not easy coming after Elvis also and trying to sing that. Okay, I'm going to be about yanked from here. I got to conclude this. I wish to dedicate this presentation to Dr. Elizabeth Baker. She was widow of Dr. Laurie Baker, and she was my friend. She was licensed as a physician. Licensed as a physician in Kerala in the 1930s. Elizabeth died in March of this year. And I also dedicate this to these young architects and all the architects and people that I'm working with in Kerala who are trying to deal with this challenge of change in a positive fashion and embracing all of you in this same effort. Thank you.